Chapter 1. The Arrival in the Icebound Wasteland. The ice planet Varkon. 9 was a world forgotten by most star charts. A frozen wasteland at the galaxy's edge where silence reigned supreme and the cold was not merely a force of nature, but a tyrant demanding absolute surrender. Endless sheets of blinding white stretched in every direction, broken only by jagged, crystalline spires that soared like frozen sentinels guarding secrets buried deep beneath the surface. The sun here was a weak and distant glow, barely piercing the thick veil of clouds that hung low and heavy, casting the world into a perpetual twilight of frost and shadow. For most living creatures, this planet was a graveyard, but for the mining colony established by the Terran Coalition, it was a beacon of opportunity, a chance to extract rare minerals from beneath the permafrost to fuel the ever-expanding engines of human civilization. At the heart of this colony was Liam Kane, a man forged by adversity, a foreman whose rugged hands and steely resolve were as much a tool for survival as the mining lasers and drills that clawed at the frozen earth. Liam was a survivor, born and bred for harsh worlds like this. His face bore the lines of countless winters and battles with both man and nature, his eyes sharp and calculating beneath a mane of wind-bleached hair. The colony depended on his leadership, his ability to keep the crew focused and alive through blizzards that could drop temperatures by hundreds of degrees in minutes, and mechanical failures that threatened to freeze them in place forever. Each day was a test, a tightrope walk between life and death, but Liam held fast, balancing pragmatism and the flickers of hope that came with every haul of precious ore. Yet, despite his grit, loneliness clung to him like the ice to the metal hulls of their habitat. This place was a world of ghosts and echoes, where the cold seeped into the soul, and the line between survival and despair was razor-thin. One evening, as the colony's lights flickered dimly against the growing storm clouds, Liam was surveying the perimeter, checking the integrity of the force fields and the remote sensor arrays that guarded their fragile existence. The wind was howling, carrying with it a biting chill that seemed to cut through even the thickest insulated layers of their suits. Suddenly, a faint, irregular blip on the motion scanners caught his attention, a signature unlike any known fauna, something large, moving slowly but deliberately toward the colony. His heart quickened with a mix of apprehension and curiosity. Most threats on Varkon 9 came in predictable forms: ice worms that burrowed beneath the surface, plasma storms that could fry electronics in seconds, or the occasional rogue scavenger desperate enough to risk the cold for a bounty. But this was different. It was something ancient and colossal, something that defied the laws of nature that Liam thought he understood. With a small team of trusted workers and the colony's security officers, Liam ventured out into the swirling blizzard, the harsh wind biting at their visors and freezing the breath in their throats. The snow was thick and the visibility near zero, but guided by the erratic sensor pulses, they pushed forward into the wasteland. Then, through the veil of ice and storm, they came upon a sight that stunned them into silence. A family of enormous alien dragons, partially encased in a tomb of ice so pure it shimmered like crystal under their headlamps. The creatures were magnificent beyond belief, scales that glimmered with iridescent hues, eyes glowing softly beneath frozen lids, wings folded protectively around their lithe, powerful bodies. Even in their frozen state, they radiated an aura of ancient majesty and latent power. It was clear that these were no ordinary animals. They were sentient, majestic beings whose presence on Varkon 9 was both a mystery and a miracle. Liam's breath caught as he stared at the dragons, their forms frozen in a tableau of vulnerability and silent plea. The largest, presumably the matriarch, had eyes that seemed to flicker with a flicker of life despite the ice, as if begging for rescue. The youngest of the family, a hatchling no larger than Liam's forearm, was trapped beneath a thick slab of ice, its tiny claws twitching in distress. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, a faint hum vibrating through the frozen ground that resonated with something deep in Liam's chest. He knew then that the arrival of this alien dragon family was no accident, no mere happenstance. Something had brought them here, and their survival was intertwined with the fate of the colony itself. Against every protocol drilled into him over years of service, Liam made a decision that would change everything. He ordered the immediate evacuation of the team back to the colony and began coordinating a desperate rescue operation. With the limited resources at hand, they deployed cutting lasers and thermal disruptors to carefully thaw the ice encasing the dragons without harming the fragile creatures inside. Hours stretched into a grueling battle against the cold and the encroaching storm as the colony's technicians worked around the clock, guided by Liam's unyielding determination and an instinctive compassion that surprised even himself. Finally, with a shattering crack that echoed like thunder across the frozen plains, the last of the ice gave way. The dragons, once trapped in frozen silence, began to stir. The matriarch lifted her massive head, nostrils flaring as she took in the alien scents of the mining colony. The hatchling blinked up at the flickering lights, and a soft, almost musical sound escaped its throat, a sound that resonated deep within Liam's soul. The dragons were alive, fragile but breathing, and with them came a hope and a mystery that none in the colony could have anticipated. As the storm raged on, the alien family looked to Liam, their eyes pleading not just for warmth and shelter, but for trust. What happened next defied reason and expectation, as the bond forged between human and dragon shifted the course of their lives forever. The vastness of the icebound wasteland stretched endlessly before the mining colony's rugged perimeter, where towering frost-covered machinery groaned under the relentless weight of the storm. The biting cold gnawed through layers of insulation, and the ever-present howl of the wind was a constant reminder of the planet's unforgiving nature. Yet it was here, amidst the frozen silence, that Liam Kane had carved a hard-won existence. As Forman, he bore the weight of every decision that kept the colony alive, a precarious balance of man, machine, and merciless nature. His crew looked to him not just for orders, but for a steady hand in the chaos of survival. Despite the loneliness that gnawed at his soul, Liam found purpose in this frozen frontier, where every sunrise was a battle won against the abyss. That purpose was shattered one bleak evening when the colony's sensors picked up a strange energy signature, a faint but unmistakable pulse unlike any natural phenomenon known to Varkon 9's data archives. Liam, skeptical but curious, organized an emergency scout party. They trudged through the swirling blizzard, each step a test of endurance as frost clung to their suits and visibility dropped to near zero. Through the icy haze, the outline of colossal forms became visible, encased in pristine ice, their breathing shallow but unbroken. The family of alien dragons, majestic even in frozen slumber, was a sight that defied the scientific mind. Their iridescent scales reflected the ambient glow of the storm like shards of a dying star, and their eyes dim but alive met Liam's with a desperate plea for shelter. Despite the centuries of training that told him to maintain distance from unknown alien life, something primal stirred in Liam's heart. The dragons were sentient, vulnerable, and unmistakably alive. He gave the order to bring them into the colony's climate-controlled hangar, against the objections of some security officers who feared contamination or danger. As the dragons thawed, the air was filled with an electric hum of ancient power awakening. The matriarch's great wings unfurled slowly, shaking off the last remnants of ice, while the hatchlings blinked in wonder at the unfamiliar surroundings. The bond between man and beast, fragile yet undeniable, began to form. Liam's decision would ripple far beyond the icy borders of Varkon 9. For the dragons were not merely creatures of myth and legend, they carried within them the echoes of a forgotten cosmic power, a force that could shift the balance of entire star systems. As the colony grappled with the responsibility of sheltering these alien giants, Liam realized that their survival and perhaps his own was tied to the incredible events yet to unfold. Chapter 2: Bonds Forged in Frost and Flame. The hangar, once a sterile haven of steel and cold air, transformed into a sanctuary pulsing with life and warmth as the alien dragon family began to recover. Liam and his crew worked tirelessly, adapting their technology to meet the dragon's needs: custom climate control, specialized nutrient feeds, and secure enclosures that allowed freedom while protecting the colony. The dragons, sensing the good faith extended to them, responded with gestures of trust and awe-inspiring displays of power. Flames that licked gently in the depths of their throats illuminated the cavernous space, casting flickering shadows that danced like ancient spirits reborn. The matriarch, whom Liam came to know as Kalara, communicated through a series of deep vocalizations and intricate body language that transcended simple understanding. Her bond with her hatchlings was fierce and tender, each movement a lesson in survival and love. Liam found himself drawn into this extraordinary family, their majestic presence a counterpoint to the harshness of the icebound world outside. His own loneliness began to thaw, replaced by a profound sense of purpose and connection. Yet, not all were pleased by the arrival of the dragons. Within the colony's leadership, whispers of fear and suspicion grew. The dragons' latent powers manifested in bursts of fire and strange energy fields were both a marvel and a threat. Political factions within the coalition debated the risks of harboring such beings, while external forces, sensing the dragons' power, began to stir in the shadows. Liam faced mounting pressure to relinquish the dragons or abandon the colony altogether. But the bond between human and dragons deepened, forged in shared trials and mutual respect. Liam learned to read Kalara's subtle cues, sensing when danger loomed or when peace reigned. In return, the dragons grew to trust the humans, their interactions blossoming into a symbiotic relationship. Together, they faced the brutal environment, the looming threats, and the uncertainty of what the future held. And then, one night, something incredible happened, a revelation that would change everything. The days in the hangar grew longer, each moment steeped in the slow, delicate process of healing and understanding. The alien dragon family, once imprisoned in ice and silence, began to stir with renewed life, their scales glistening like precious gems beneath the harsh artificial lights. Kalara, the matriarch, moved with a regal grace tempered by exhaustion, her keen eyes reflecting the flickering glow of the colony's hearths and machinery. Her hatchlings, curious and cautious, explored their surroundings with tentative steps, their breaths forming misty clouds in the cold air. Liam watched with a mix of awe and responsibility. This was no ordinary rescue, it was the birth of a bond that transcended species, culture, and the frozen expanse beyond their walls. Communication was the greatest challenge. Kalara's language was a complex symphony of deep guttural tones, wing gestures, and subtle shifts in body posture. Through patient observation and trial, Liam began to decipher patterns, small moments of recognition, warnings, and pleas. A flick of a wing could mean peace. A low rumble signaled distress. The dragons were intelligent, aware, and deeply emotional beings. Liam found himself bridging the gap between worlds, a translator not only of words, but of empathy and trust. The colony's scientists, initially skeptical, became fascinated by the dragon's biology and energy emissions, recognizing that these creatures held secrets to ancient cosmic forces long thought lost. Yet, as understanding deepened, so did the tensions within the colony. Not everyone saw the dragons as guests or allies. Fear gnawed at some hearts, a fear born of the unknown, of power that could ignite destruction or upheaval. The colony's leaders debated fiercely. Some urged caution, others demanded the dragons be confined or destroyed. Whispers of rebellion simmered, fueled by rumors of a potential uprising led by the dragons or of catastrophic accidents caused by their fiery displays. Liam found himself caught between his duty to protect the colony and his growing conviction that these magnificent beings were vital to more than mere survival. They were a bridge to a future where humanity and alien life could coexist and thrive. One evening, as a particularly brutal storm lashed the colony, Kalara approached Liam alone, her massive form silhouetted against the howling winds and swirling snow. Through a series of intricate gestures and low, melodic sounds, she conveyed a message of desperation and hope. Her family's home world, a realm of flame and life, was dying, its core unstable, threatening to collapse and obliterate everything. The ice that had encased them was both prison and refuge, a chance to survive until a solution could be found. She begged for Liam's help, not just for shelter, but to awaken the ancient powers within her bloodline that could save their world and, perhaps, the galaxy. The revelation shook Liam to his core. What had begun as a chance rescue had unfolded into a cosmic responsibility, a mission far greater than mere survival. Together with the colony's scientists and engineers, Liam and Kalara devised a plan, a perilous journey to the heart of Varkon 9's frozen wasteland to activate an ancient energy nexus hidden beneath the ice. It was a race against time, against nature, and against those who would see the dragons as threats rather than saviors. As preparations began, the bond between Liam and Kalara deepened, forged in the fires of trust and shared purpose. The incredible was no longer a distant hope, it was a dawning reality, one that would test the limits of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable connection between a human Forman and a frozen alien dragon family. The urgency of Kalara's plea ignited a fire within Liam that no amount of cold could extinguish. The ancient energy nexus beneath Varkon 9, buried deep in the planet's icy crust, was rumored among old star charts and forgotten legends, a source of immense power once harnessed by a civilization long lost to time. To awaken it, however, meant venturing into the heart of the frozen wasteland, a place where few humans had dared to tread, and fewer still had returned. The mission was fraught with danger, relentless storms, deadly crevasses, and the ever-present threat of collapse under the crushing weight of ice. Yet Liam understood that failure was not an option. The fate of Kalara's world and perhaps the balance of the entire galaxy rested in their hands. Preparations were swift and meticulous. The colony pooled its resources, retrofitting vehicles with reinforced hulls and enhanced environmental controls. Teams of engineers, scientists, and security personnel were assembled, their resolve hardened by the enormity of the task. Liam, as foreman, bore the burden of leadership, coordinating the effort with steady determination even as doubt gnawed at him. Kalara, sensing the gravity of their journey, grew stronger, her powers beginning to pulse faintly beneath her scales, a reminder of the dormant potential waiting to be unleashed. The day of departure was shrouded in a biting frost, the sky a pale expanse of swirling clouds that promised more storms ahead. As the convoy set out, the alien dragons moved with an eerie grace, their massive forms navigating the treacherous terrain with a blend of instinct and intelligence. Liam rode alongside Kalara, the bond between man and dragon now an unspoken alliance forged through trials and hope. The cold was relentless, but so was their spirit. Each mile traveled was a testament to the courage of a human foreman who dared to trust the impossible. Chapter 3: Awakening the Frozen Heart. The journey to the energy nexus was a crucible of endurance and will. Blizzards howled like ancient beasts, swallowing the convoy in white fury and obscuring the path forward. The ground beneath their tracks groaned and shifted, reminding them with every tremor of the volatile world they traversed. Crevasses yawned like hungry mouths, demanding vigilance and unity. Yet amid the relentless storm, moments of awe emerged, vistas of towering ice spires etched with ancient runes, the eerie glow of subterranean crystals, and the subtle hum of energies pulsing beneath the frozen surface. Kalara's powers grew with every step, her connection to the nexus strengthening, as if the planet itself recognized her bloodline. Her flames, once dim and flickering, now burned with fierce intensity, melting ice and warming the hearts of those who journeyed beside her. Liam marveled at the resilience of this majestic creature, whose very existence defied the harshness of their environment. Their bond was more than survival, it was a dance of trust and strength that bridged species and worlds. As they neared the nexus, the ground trembled beneath their feet. The ancient structure, partially buried beneath layers of ice and rock, loomed before them, a monolithic edifice pulsing with raw, untamed power. Activation required a ritual long forgotten, a precise harmony of energy and intention that only Kalara could channel. With Liam and the colony's scientists providing support, she stepped into the heart of the nexus, her wings unfurled as she summoned the fire within. The air ignited with a blinding light as the frozen planet responded to her call. Ice cracked and splintered, releasing torrents of steam and energy that surged through the landscape. The dragons roared, a sound that shook the heavens and echoed across the void, a declaration of rebirth and power reclaimed. The nexus awakened, a beacon of hope radiating warmth and light across the icy wasteland. In that moment, something incredible happened not just for the dragons or the colony, but for Liam himself. The frozen wasteland, once a place of desolation and despair, became a symbol of renewal. The human Forman who had offered shelter to a frozen alien dragon family found his own heart ignited by courage, compassion, and the limitless possibility of the extraordinary. As the ancient energy nexus roared to life beneath the frozen crust of Varkon 9, the atmosphere within the cavern shifted dramatically. The walls, once encased in brittle ice, shimmered and pulsed with radiant energy, veins of molten light coursing through crystalline formations that had lain dormant for millennia. Kalara stood at the center of the awakening, her massive wings spread wide, her iridescent scales glowing with a fierce intensity that illuminated the shadowed chamber like a living star. Her eyes, once dimmed by frost and fear, now burned with determination and ancient power, a beacon in the darkness. Liam watched in awe, feeling the surge of energy ripple through the very ground beneath his feet. A force so raw and primal, it was both beautiful and terrifying. The hatchlings, though smaller and less powerful, mirrored their mother's awakening, their bodies radiating warmth and light that melted the lingering ice and breathed life into the frozen chamber. The entire nexus seemed to respond, the dormant energies aligning in perfect harmony with Kalara's will. It was as if the planet itself recognized its rightful heir, releasing centuries of pent-up power to flow freely once more. Liam could feel the hairs on his arms stand on end, a tangible connection bridging species and worlds, a shared heartbeat between human and dragon that defied logic and reason. But with such immense power came great danger. The activation did not go unnoticed. Far beyond the icy wasteland, in shadowed corridors of political power and mercenary guilds, alarms blared and communications scrambled. Forces that had sought to control or destroy the dragons sensed the shift and mobilized swiftly, their intentions dark and merciless. Liam knew that this moment of triumph was but the calm before a storm, one that would test every ounce of courage and unity between the human colony and their alien allies. Inside the Nexus chamber, Kalara lowered her wings, turning to Liam with a mixture of gratitude and solemn resolve. Through a series of deep vocalizations and subtle gestures, she conveyed the significance of what had transpired. The Nexus's energy was a lifeline to her people, a chance to restore balance and vitality to their dying homeworld. But it was also a beacon, a call that could draw both salvation and destruction. Liam nodded, understanding the weight of their shared destiny. The dragons were no longer just guests or survivors, they were key players in a cosmic struggle that spanned galaxies. As the energy stabilized, the dragons prepared to return to the surface, their bodies strengthened and spirits renewed. Liam's heart swelled with a complex mixture of pride, fear, and hope. This was more than a rescue. It was the birth of a partnership that could reshape the fate of worlds. The frozen alien dragon family, once silent and encased in ice, had become a force of nature, a symbol of resilience, power, and the incredible possibilities born from trust and compassion. With the Nexus awakened, their journey was far from over. Liam and Kalara knew that threats would come in waves, and alliances would be tested. But together, human and dragon would face whatever challenges awaited, bound by a shared purpose and an unbreakable bond forged in the cold fires of survival. The resonance of the awakened Nexus reverberated through the icy depths of Varkon 9, sending ripples of energy that thawed long-frozen pockets beneath the surface. The ground trembled subtly beneath Liam's feet as he stood beside Kalara, the colossal dragon matriarch whose power had shifted the very balance of the planet. The hatchlings nestled close, their bodies now radiating warmth, each flicker of flame from their throats a sign of burgeoning strength. It was a moment that transcended the ordinary, a convergence of ancient cosmic forces and raw human courage. Yet, this victory was but a prelude to trials yet to come. As Liam and the dragons prepared to leave the Nexus, distant signals crackled across the colony's communications, warnings of approaching ships bearing hostile intent. Mercenaries, opportunists, and factions long aware of the dragon's dormant power had mobilized swiftly, drawn by the beacon of energy now pulsing from the planet's core. The human mining colony, once isolated and unassuming, was now at the heart of an interstellar storm. Liam rallied the colony, forging an alliance between human miners and their alien guardians. Together, they fortified the outpost, blending human technology with the dragon's elemental might. Defensive shields hummed with energy, while Kalara and her family patrolled the skies, their presence a terrifying deterrent. The bond between human and dragon had blossomed into something unbreakable, a partnership forged in the frozen fires of adversity. Chapter 4: The Unseen Horizon. The first battle arrived under a sky streaked with fiery contrails and thunderous blasts. Enemy ships tore through the atmosphere, weapons blazing as they sought to claim the power of the Nexus for themselves. The dragons soared into the fray, their flames scorching the cold air, wings beating storms that scattered the attackers. Liam commanded ground defenses with calm precision, directing miners turned warriors in a desperate stand against overwhelming odds. Amid the chaos, a revelation emerged. The Nexus's energy was not just a force of destruction, but also a source of healing and creation. Kalara's flames began to mend wounds and restore vitality, touching both dragons and humans alike. This unexpected power shifted the tide, inspiring hope and strengthening resolve. When the dust settled, the colony stood scarred but unbroken. The dragons and humans had forged a new future together, one where ancient power and human ingenuity intertwined. Liam and Kalara, once strangers from worlds apart, now led their people into an era of shared destiny. Their story a testament to the incredible transformations born from trust, courage, and the warmth found amidst the coldest places. The battle had been brutal, yet beneath the roar of engines and the crackling of energy weapons, a new symphony was emerging, a symphony forged in unity and unyielding spirit. As the enemy forces retreated, scorched and broken beneath the combined might of dragonfire and human strategy, the icebound colony began to breathe again. The once muted hum of machinery now pulsed with renewed vigor, the air warmed by the flickering flames of hope and determination. Liam stood among his crew and allies, sweat mingling with the cold sweat of survival, as Kalara circled overhead, her massive wings casting long shadows over the battered terrain. She descended gracefully, landing beside Liam with a gentle yet commanding presence that belied her immense power. Her eyes, glowing softly in the twilight, met his with a quiet understanding, the unspoken acknowledgement of a partnership that had transcended the boundaries of species, culture, and fate. In the days that followed, the true potential of the Nexus became clear. Beyond its capacity for destruction, the ancient energy source radiated a life-giving force capable of revitalizing the frozen planet. The dragons, led by Kalara, channeled this power to thaw frozen lands, heal injured wildlife, and even accelerate the growth of hardy vegetation. The colony, once a bleak outpost on the edge of oblivion, began to flourish, a green and vibrant oasis amid the desolation. Liam worked tirelessly alongside his human crew and dragon allies, coordinating efforts to expand the colony's reach and secure its future. New technologies were developed, hybrid systems that combined human engineering with dragon energy manipulation, creating powerful tools for terraforming and defense. The community grew stronger, bound together by shared trials and a vision of a future where coexistence was not just possible, but inevitable. Amid this renewal, Liam and Kalara's bond deepened into something profound. Moments stolen from duty, quiet conversations beneath star-studded skies, shared meals by flickering fires, the warmth of a wing wrapped protectively around a shoulder wove a tapestry of trust and affection. Their partnership became a beacon, inspiring others to look beyond fear and prejudice toward a horizon filled with possibility. Yet, even as peace settled over Varkon 9, Liam knew the galaxy beyond remained unpredictable. Threats lurked in shadowed corners, those who coveted the Nexus's power, who feared the alliance of human and dragon. But he faced the future unafraid, strengthened by the incredible journey that had begun with a desperate plea for shelter and had blossomed into a saga of courage, unity, and transformation. Together, Liam and Kalara stood at the dawn of a new era, one born from ice and fire, from broken chains and newfound hope. a testament to the extraordinary things that could happen when worlds came together and the impossible became real. The warm glow of the colony's newly thriving ecosystem stretched across the icy plains of Varkon, 9 like a promise reborn. Where once stood frozen wasteland now bloomed pockets of life-sturdy grasses pushing through thawing soil, crystalline flowers catching the pale sunlight, and the vibrant dance of native creatures returning to a healing world. Amid this renaissance, Liam Kane and Kalara stood together on a ridge overlooking the colony, their eyes reflecting the tapestry of colors painted by renewal and hope. Their journey from a desperate rescue to the dawn of transformation had forged a bond unbreakable by cold, conflict, or cosmic indifference. The dragon's ancient power, once imprisoned beneath ice, now pulsed in harmony with human ingenuity, weaving a future where species long divided could unite in strength and compassion. Liam, the hardened Forman whose life had been shaped by survival, had found in Kalara not just an ally but a partner who challenged his limits and ignited his soul. Kalara, the majestic matriarch whose legacy spanned eons, discovered in Liam the embodiment of trust and courage she had long sought in the stars. As they watched the first full bloom of the thawed world, a quiet understanding settled between them, a recognition that their story was but the beginning of a grander saga. Across the galaxy, word of the Dragon-Human alliance spread, inspiring hope and stirring old fears, heralding an age where the impossible was within reach. Together, they vowed to protect this fragile peace, to nurture the fledgling bond between their peoples, and to face whatever cosmic challenges awaited with unwavering resolve. The frozen alien dragon family had begged for shelter, but in giving it, Liam Kane and his colony unlocked a power that would change the course of history. In the interplay of ice and fire, humanity and legend, they found a truth universal and timeless, that even in the harshest worlds, compassion could kindle miracles, and that together, disparate souls could reshape the stars themselves.